All right, here live with Mason, my lovely wife. We were just catching up on how amazing Florida is from November through May. And then Forrest, if you could just edit out, what happens from May to November, then. But these podcasts with level 3 coaches have a specific purpose, and it's just to get to know them better. This is the early days of ATG. There's 3 ATGs out there. There's one here, there's one in Macedonia, and there's one in New Jersey. I mean, there couldn't be a more different mix than that.
Totally.
But these level 3 coaches are out there producing the same results we are. In some cases, like Mason's case, his legs totally put mine to shame. So we want to basically just interview you. We want to hear about your journey so far. We want to hear about your goals. Mm-hmm. Why not start there, right? Like what are your goals? And then we can rewind from there. But
that's a deep topic. Yeah. A lot of it stems from hockey originally, and that's partially due to that's a big cause of creating my legs. That's a very good commonality throughout any hockey player. We talk about Marty St. Louis all the time. So, we like to joke around that he's my uncle. Yeah. And I think there's some evidence around that.
I would have to, you're guilty until proven innocent that you guys are.
Yeah. And I want to just start from when I first got into ATG. It was around 2021, the start around there. I had major hip issues. And that I was like, I remember one practice, I was on my own just training and working on my skills and all that. Sometimes I'd spend up to like 4 or 6 hours on the ice. It'd be something crazy. I don't know if like you've also done that too, but with your figure skating. But yeah, like I remember after one of those, I had a sharp pain from the kind of like the bottom of my, the top of my knee to the middle of my core. So that was a hip flexor issue. I've had hip issues going back to my first days of junior hockey when I was like 18. But this is where it like got really bad. So that's where I did a little bit of research. Friend recommended your system, hopped into that, started with 0, and then worked my way up from there. Within 6 months, the pain went away. And then I was like, wow, this is working very well. I'm going to see if I can dig a little bit further. Because I had started like coaching players at that point in the mechanical and skill sense for hockey. But I thought there was something very special with the program that you guys have, and definitely there is. We can definitely dive deeper into that. And but like it got me out of pain. That was the most important thing. And then it got me like even more athletic. You go through the main stuff, and then signed up for the coaches course soon after that. I was very curious because I wanted to see how this worked. So
are you faster on the ice now than you started?
Yeah. I actually recorded before I jumped into HEG my lap time as a measurement. It's not like the end all be all. I don't have like a chip inside my jerseys or anything like that like the players do now, but my lap time was around like 17, 18, 19 seconds. It's very bad. Like usually NHLers skate like 13 and below. So it's like sometimes 14 if they're like going around the rink. Now I'm at 15, 14.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's with ATG. No pain. And I'm feeling a lot faster as well. It's just looking a lot better. When you're in pain, like you're held back and you can't really do anything. You have less ability. Yep. And that was when I actually got stronger in the smaller exercises, which then helped out me getting stronger in the bigger exercises. That was a great translation over to hockey. Obviously, you still have to practice the hockey stuff as well, because moving on ice is not the same thing as moving on ground. Like there's so many differences, but it still really helped out, and like that was special to me. So
amazing. Mm-hmm. So with you being in hockey and Alyssa having a high level figure skating background, what would you guys say, if any, what's the difference between moving on ice versus like my sport, moving on basketball?
Yeah, well, with ice, it's very slippery, and you're basically on an eighth of, at least in hockey's case, that's shaped like the rocker shapes like this. It's not necessarily flat. I think figure skaters are flattish.
Ours are mostly flat.
Yeah. We have a rocker, so like it will tilt and go back and forth. I wish I brought my skate. Actually, that'd be perfect to show. But there's a rocker, so you're kind of like on an eighth of an inch of that blade. Plus, you have a little hollow in between
That's
there,
exactly
so
right.
you're on an inside and an outside edge, similar to what you would have with your foot.
So, babe, it's like there's the tiny blade like this, and then it's shaped like this inside. So that's
Yes.
what they do when they sharpen the blades. They like make So that
Make
it's
a
like
hollow.
it's
Yeah.
very precise.
No, it's terrifying. I mean, I watch her and
I
it's
know,
like,
yeah.
it's unbelievable.
And then I find as well, like another mechanical difference is you have to, with like gliding out there, you have to use more heel pressure as opposed to always pushing off the toe. Now with figure skaters, you can use the toe spikes
Yeah,
at the end.
toe pick,
too.
we call it.
Yeah, toe pick. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
But with hockey, you don't really have that. So if you try to push off the toe, you
Yeah.
slip. So
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Everything he's saying is so right. Like I tried hockey skates one time and I can't skate on hockey skates. Like you're literally like, because he has this rocker and our skates don't have that and we have this toe pick. So it's like, I mean, it's probably like the difference of you trying to go skateboard and be like, well, you guys are both on land. Well, they're like totally
They're
different
totally
things.
different. Yeah.
But one thing I thought to mention is there's so much knees that have to go into ice skating. So when you're walking, but you're not focused. You don't really engage in your knees, the muscles. They bend, but you're walking forward. In ice skating, you're pushing off to the side, bending your knees and actually engaging in all the muscles to gain speed and gain for jumps or for whatever. But just even skating around the rink, you are literally using your knees and your legs to actually do the movements.
So it's very technical, but it's very muscular too.
Correct.
Yep, definitely muscular in a
Yeah.
hockey player's case. Yeah.
So what are the things like, okay, so you had pain, then you've been able to get rid of the pain and get faster on the ice. Like, what do you think is moving your body faster on the ice? Like exercise wise, like why are you moving faster now?
Amount of pain. That's one thing.
Helps.
I think more of the ranges that I'm able to get into.
Yeah.
That's also big because my hip flexor wouldn't stretch far back with it being like super tight or injured. I never got diagnosed with anything, so I don't know if I had a tear or if I had. I went through like an FAI course before going through ATG, so there was some evidence. Anyway, like the exercise fixed it that you guys use. So and that we use. Sorry, but like
So the stretch strength quality ultimately gave it enough
I think
ability.
I think it really works. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I can do the splits now.
That's insane.
I can.
so
I
cool.
couldn't do that even when I was 6 and practicing gymnastics at that point.
That's so cool.
that
We
was
should-
crazy to me. Yeah.
We should all do one at the end.
We should. Yeah. We'll do it on my good side.
We'll use B-roll.
I have a few clips. I'm not flat ground, like to be honest, with the splits, but for a hockey player with my big old legs, like
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
my
unbelievable.
goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
You
that's
can see
impressive. Okay, so like in basketball, the simplicity of it is like you want to jump high. That's the most important exercise.
Yeah.
Then the number 2 most important exercise is your low squat. And that's partly theory, but a lot of people at this point would agree for basketball that your actual jump session is the most important workout of the week. And then your second most important is the opposite of high, and it's how strong you get low.
Yeah.
So for skating, would you still say the number one thing like is the skating? Like skating pain-free, like the effort that you put into skating?
That's a big point, yes.
So then what's number 2? Is there a number 2? What's number 2?
I think that's split squat and good morning.
Okay.
That gets the front and the back of the stride. So the split squat will get the front and sometimes the back hip flexor as well. But the seated good morning gets the glutes, the upper hamstring, and all that. Obviously, you need to balance the rest of the body if you have your own weak links and areas like that. Like for me, it wasn't just the hip flexor. Actually, my hamstrings in the Nordic or the hamstring curl, like that exercise, and also knee flexion in general, much weaker compared to knee extension for me. So I had to get the hamstrings a lot stronger, at least in my case. Yeah. I wasn't already starting out doing Marty's Nordics or anything like that. Yeah.
So if we look at that skating position, so the skating position is kind of like a mid range.
Yes.
Like a half-ish bend. So then the split squat goes from about a half bend to a full bend.
Yeah.
And the seated good morning, you go from a half hip bend
Yep.
to a full bend. So you're saying that, so like the skating range, number one is the intent you put into skating. And then number two is then what you're not doing when you're skating. And it's the range below that.
Absolutely.
But because the nature of it, the split squat and seated good morning are a little more directly relating to that
They're more
than
directly
just
related.
the deep squat.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I would say that for basketball, I would say that just the deep squat would be the most important, and then probably further breakdowns. This is good to know though, because like for basketball, I would tell someone, you actually don't have to go heavy on split squat and seated good morning. You can transform your basketball jumping with the intent on the jumping and the intent on the deep squat. And the rest of your stuff can really just be like in balance to that. The split squat, seated good morning, you don't actually have to load heavy for basketball. You want to do that. You want to have like good supporting mobility. You want your joints to feel really good. Whereas for hockey, you probably would have more to gain from actually like measurably focusing on your strength in the split squat and seated good morning.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That's a really good tip though. I mean, it's like, there's a lot to recover from.
There is.
It's probably not realistic in a program to be like, I'm going to skate hard and I'm going to split squat hard, I'm going to seated good morning hard, and I'm going to squat hard and I'm going to do all this every week.
That's too much. Yeah.
So how do you program that relationship? So split squat, seated good morning, deep squat, like what have you found works well programming wise?
Oh, I've had a lot of help from Ben C on this, and that's actually who first referenced the split squat in the good morning. So Ben Clare, for good shout out to
And
him.
has he's worked with
He's worked with
some
a bunch of
NHLers.
NHLers. Yeah. And Paul Quinn as well has worked with a bunch of Hall of Famers with hockey, and like he has, I can go down the list, but there's too many. But programming, at least when I tried it, and like as a base program, kind of like acting as if I were playing pro, going to that point. Basically, just the 2 lowers, 2 uppers. That seems to be pretty solid from that standpoint. And you would have the good morning and split squat. I mean, depends on the person at the end of the day too. In my case, when I just focused on those to start, then everything else became a lot easier. Those are ones that I can do more frequently as well. They didn't like hurt me as much, and I could definitely scale them like a heck of a lot further.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're obviously you can push any exercise pretty far and have a longer recovery time and anything like that. But generally speaking, the split squat and the good morning, I was able to recover from pretty quickly. Yeah.
Compared to like squatting, which would be like more weight to challenge the legs and back.
In the past year, because like a year ago to the day, I was doing a program where I would do the squats first and then like split squat and good morning.
In the same workout?
But squats would be like A, for instance.
Yeah.
The A series, and then B series would be split squat and good morning, or other variations like that.
That can work, but how was the recovery from that? Like, did it work good, or was it too much?
It works good. I think that was a good pace for that specific 6-month period. That I worked it on. Yeah. Just generally.
What about if someone was in season?
Oh, you could do. Ben helped me out on this as well. There's like a workout A, a workout B, a workout C, because at least when I've trained my players, they're also doing like the team workouts and everything like that. Yeah,
there's an overtraining cultural phenomenon.
I think that's a big
we
problem
can dig into.
Yeah.
It is in basketball. It is in almost all sports.
Yeah. We always think that doing more is what gets you more, but it's actually the opposite. It's doing it's doing more on less. Yeah. Getting better on less. And like, the recovery thing was massive for me. Look, I was like skating for like 4 or 6 hours. But
was it working?
No, it wasn't working.
Right.
No, it didn't help me at all because it got me hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when I was like finding recovery time 4 to 6 hours every day, that was what you start out with when you were fixing your knees too. So like I was in the same boat in that part, like trying to look around for stuff. But when I cut things down and just got really good at a few exercises, which I think is you guys teach so well. Like to get good at the basics. That's one of the best things about ATG, I think. And
it seems like
that's what works. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that's
so well.
almost the quote unquote secret
Yeah.
to like greatness is actually taking your basics and then
Yeah.
mastering those
Yep.
at even higher
Yes.
levels. I started to notice this phenomenon in basketball where it'd be like, oh wait, Michael Jordan uses barely any moves, but he's so good at those few moves that so there's definitely some common denominators there.
Yep.
And yeah, if we look at the overtraining thing in sports, to me it seems like there's a lack of responsibility on the part of sport coaches, where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm a sport coach, so it's okay for me to have a team of guys in chronic pain who can't actually give 110%. And it's not my fault because I'm a sport coach. That's like saying, I'm a parent, so it's not my fault that my kid's failing in school because I'm doing good, when he's at home. No, you're fully responsible. So I think the entire sports world is maybe at a 3 or a 4 out of 10 on just competence of how well it could do. And you could go into this for politics. You could go into this in a lot of areas that it's like, no, I could actually prove that the competence is far from what it could be.
Yeah.
Greater competence would be the sport coach also understanding the body. If you start the season and at the end of the season your players are slower and can't jump as high, you're not that competent.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a sport coach. I did this a year. I trained myself. I lied to the coach and said that I had a trainer back home. I wrote my own programs. So I was the only guy doing full range of motion. At the end of the year, 15 guys, 14 of them could jump less high. I could jump 3 inches higher than when we started. Who's more competent there? Who do you think was actually the most productive player on the team? Who do you think in basketball, they track plus minus? That means when you're in the game, how much better does the team do? My plus minus was so much better than the rest of the team that the coach didn't even want to show it to the team because it would be so embarrassing for the rest of the team.
Wow. I didn't.
When I was on the court, the team did so much better than when I was off the court.
Yeah.
But I could play harder.
Yep.
Not just look like I'm playing harder, actually play harder. Bend my knees that couple more inches. So I was able to give more. I was able to focus harder. But I was probably the only guy on that team who didn't have knee pain. And you know how good it feels when you're going through and you're like, man, I could jump higher than at the start of the season. How do you think their testosterone levels were doing, knowing that they couldn't jump as high as they could at the start of the season?
Press very easily.
Yeah.
My testosterone was higher. I was making gains. I was getting better. So not many people have finished high school not even playing a game their senior year, knee surgery, no recruitment at any level, and somehow get themselves a Division I scholarship. And I was navigating this stuff. And the number one thing I found by far is to balance the body to the sport impact. So I had to train through a full range of motion, which is not what's done on the basketball court. And so, yeah, I think basketball coaches assume that they are experts on the game, and they are partial experts. They're not full experts.
They're partial.
Yeah.
If you're not an expert on the body, if your players finish the season in more pain with less ability physically, you're a half expert.
That's a really good way to. I mean, that is as simple as you can get on that.
That's the exact same frustration I have.
Yeah.
Now, here's something wild to throw at you. I agreed to be a high school basketball coach this year.
Yep.
Now, I don't care where the team starts. Every player on that team is going to finish the year with less pain, able to jump higher, able to run faster, and more skilled at basketball.
You have the
able to
receipts
play harder.
You have the receipts on doing it with like what was it? Your college teams before too?
Yeah, and this was
you've already
before
done
knees
it.
over toes guys.
Yeah.
Knees over toes guys going back to the trenches.
Yeah.
My idea for you is you know this problem.
Yes.
Okay, if you're anything like me, it gets me pissed off. Look, I try to be so conservative, and then I get in here and I think about how coaches with huge egos being jerks. We're not talking about people being respectful. We're talking about a broad system of basketball coaches treating people like shit.
Yep.
Acting like they are full-on experts, and they are half experts, and they are irresponsible for the bodies of their players, and then complaining when their players can't play hard, but it's because they put them in pain, they're making them less athletic. So I kind of need to shut up and then go train a basketball team. So if you're anything like me, and if it pisses you off, consider training a team. Measure things. Measure their speed, before and after the season. It doesn't matter if they're 11 years old or 17 years old, or if they're the C team or the A team, or an NHL team or a team where no one's even trying to be a hockey player. I probably won't have a single student on this team who even wants to play college basketball, and that's totally okay. And I'm not going to try to make any of them play college basketball, because honestly, they're better off at this point in time becoming an entrepreneur than going into a shit system. But we're damn sure going to get hundreds of millions of views on pointing out this basic problem in the system.
Yep.
So by going into it, I can point it out rather than just whining and complaining like I am on this podcast. But I think it could be some absolutely incredible content for you to go get measurable results and show how players, you can start a hockey season and finish that hockey season more athletic with less pain than when you started the season, measurably. And then guess what? They can do your exact formula online. The online can be built purely on measurable results in person, outlier results, because most players are going to finish a hockey season more banged up and slower than when they started.
Yep.
Thoughts?
It's a grueling sport. Yeah. You have my vow. I'm going to look at that. So
that's what it's all about.
That.
That's going to get me totally hyped
We need to
see
change
you.
it. Yeah.
You got to get in there and coach a team.
We need to change it.
That's where it's at. Coach a team, measurable outlier results, because it is the norm to be getting less athletic. The bar is low. You only have to prove. And while doing so, also improve the skill of the players. We're not talking about not improving the skill.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's crazy though is I'm here thinking and hearing all of these things, and it's taking me back to my skating days and flashbacks to my coaches. Can you imagine how much better whoever you're coaching would be, your student, if you did know the body? I know that I had tight calves, and so my coaches would always tell me, I can't even speak now, would always tell me, bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees. But I couldn't bend my knees because I had tight calves. They're strapped into the boot. I like my skates really tight. But like, there's so much more that meets the eye. Like, nobody sat me down and was like, you know what? How tight are your boots? Can you even physically bend your knees as much as I'm telling you to bend them? Like, now I've been skating again, and the coach was explaining some different things and how I'm observing. I'm older now, so I can see, oh, whoa, some people don't tighten them as much as I do, and they can bend more. Like, but just having the competence of merging these things together. I'm not saying you need to be a doctor and a sports coach, but just having basic understanding of the body, truly like what you're saying, and being able to take responsibility for your player or your student, I think could be a game changer. And maybe there are some fantastic coaches that are like that. Of course, I was only privy to the ones in my town here, but I did still have coaches that made it far. And I just don't think it's even part of the system. I don't think it's discussed. I don't think people, that's what I feel, because the people that coached me were like in the Olympics and stuff. So it's not that they, were just, anyway, but I feel that you could get so much more from as also for me, ice skating, you're little. I was 7 years old, like, this is me learning to tie my skates, and I think I'm doing it and I feel it this way or whatever. And then you're 15, 14, 13. You're not thinking like you are now as an adult, where you can process these different things and look at things logically and be like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. You don't know the physics of your body and what makes you jump this. Like, there's so much more that could be imparted to a student that I feel is completely lacking, that I never even realized. I'm not telling you to now like teach your kid all about life and physics and this and that, but you should be, there should be more to it than probably what you got growing up. I don't know how hockey is, but
pretty similar. Yeah, where the coaches weren't bad people. I need to be careful with that phrasing because I've misspoken on that a few times. I'm upset more with the coaching.
right.
What's given out. Same exact thing that happened with you guys, because an 8-year-old, like, at the time when I was first playing it all, like, you don't know any better. Like, I wanted to make the NHL. Like, I wanted to go as far as I could with hockey.
Same for me. I wanted to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. NBA for you. So you want to be exactly like your heroes, your mentors, or the people you look up to. So that was kind of what I set my eyes on. I thought I was doing okay, but actually when I look back on it, I didn't really commit to competitive ice hockey until I was 15. That was when I did more of the travel stuff. But still, like, within that timeline, the coaching that I have now in both the skill and the physical ability and training, no, like completely different, night and day.
Yeah.
And I literally wish I had this back then.
Totally.
I can't imagine how much better I'd be. I like to say as well that I made a 20-year transformation in 2 to 3 and at this point 5 years, because I switched up my skills training, which is a story in of itself, in about 2019, 2020. And then I switched up my physical training in 2021. Now we're in 25, and this is literally, I try to document as much as I can from there until now. I don't have everything, but the difference is literally night and day.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, like I had great coaches. There's so many things that I still use today that I'm like, wow, these are
Still
really
friends
cool.
with them. Yeah.
These are cool exercises and different things. And for me, there's so many other things. I was a taller ice skater. There's just many things that go into the equation that make you need to bend your knees more than if you're shorter. You're lower to the ice. There's just some common basics there. But
do you think there needs to be more of an individualization in that way, or
what do you mean? Like almost different categories, like how they have
so.
like weight limits for
I guess in figure skate, where it's like you have the scale, you have the set like base exercise, and then they're scaled to where you're currently at, but it's like your own customized plan or programming thing. I think that's what I'm referring to. Do you think there needs to be more of that? Because we're talking about specific things with the knee and the tight calf, and could be some other things too, but
you mean customization for an actual skater to
I guess so.
improve their own weak links to skating?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be just like gold if someone...
I think that's where training needs to go.
Right. Like how to improve your weak links to become a better skater. That's...
Yeah, and you start with balancing out the skating. You start with balancing out the basketball. But I think you could have absolutely viral content with no clickbait, no lies, no attacks. See, I'm going to word it like I've agreed to be a volunteer high school basketball coach because there is a broad problem. And it's not an individual problem though.
No,
right.
no.
It's an educational problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to be sharing everything I do. Obviously, if I was on a team with 15 guys and everyone lost inches on their vertical and I was the only one who increased my vertical, that's important information. So if a coach could do that, I also got way more skilled. Like I've been through it. Not many people have lived through that, of being completely unrecruited all the way to Division I scholarship.
And I was with Ben this whole time.
Yeah,
meaning
I wasn't even playing basketball.
I watched this journey happen.
So I think you can do that for hockey. And I think
I want to,
I think that like out there in the world, it's like the attention you get and this kind of stuff, it's either value or perceived value. So if like the easiest way to make a viral piece of content would be to lie about something.
And you make it 5 seconds.
This is guaranteed to fix your knee pain in 60 seconds. The only exercise you'll ever need. That is very interesting, because if that were true, that would be extremely valuable. Take this pill and you'll be happy. Running in the meadows, biking. Have you seen the advertisement?
Yeah.
I mean, like so the perceived value is tremendous. If you could take a pill and wind up in the meadows picking daisies and all this stuff as they do in the commercials, my point is that doesn't mean you can't go viral, but you're actually going to have to find real value.
Yes.
So if you're actually able to take a team of any hockey team in the world, and your team is going to finish the season healthier with more measurable improvement while getting more skilled, your players are going to be happier because they're not going to be in chronic pain. And when you're mowing down goals and you're getting better, it really gives you a great sense of pride, higher testosterone. You have the potential to deliver the most valuable result in hockey. You're going to go viral if you can get that actual value done in the real world and then just get people to see that actual value. You can go viral without ever lying, without ever calling anyone out. And I'm going to be trying to do the same thing in basketball. People aren't going to believe me in other areas, but in basketball, I actually have results to show for it. Not to mention, I'll be out there dunking myself and living the product, and same with you. So this is incredibly exciting. This is the type of stuff that I'm going to be reposting and shining light to. And I think you found yourself something here that for you and I, like, it's time. It's too upsetting internally to know that kids out there could be happier, could be doing better, and that I'm not doing something about that. So that's why that's it.
And what's so interesting is lots of these sports have where you can win and when you can lose. And it's not all about that. So for example, say I never made it to the Olympics. That's fine. But imagine how much better of a skater I would have been for my own self, my own goals, that I would have landed blah, or I would have done it better, or I would have been whatever. Like, we would be changing kids' lives across the entire world by just making more competent athletes that will just not, again, change who wins and loses, because it'll still be super competitive, but they will have so much more pride in the finishing of their sport when they move on to whatever their next thing is, because of what they were able to accomplish, and ideally without pain, because they did this all correctly. Like, less surgeries, less this. I mean, it's like a whole new athletic world that I wish I could have been a part of growing up, but now
you're a part of it now.
I know it.
We're a part of it now. And you're going to be my assistant coach. So, well, you know, I just finished a cold brew. I'm ready to run through a brick wall, coach. Let's go. So that's all I got for this one, because I'm like, this is incredible. You now have like a life mission that can help hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I don't know how many kids out there play hockey, but I'll tell you what.
Lots.
It's kids, so it means that the next year and the next year and the next year and the next.
I want to change the whole training industry. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
And honestly, I mean, I want to work alongside you, because there's
there should be camaraderie.
Ice skating, like, somehow you kind of feel not like family, but like family, even though I have nothing to do with hockey. Like, I feel like I'm going to tear up here. I have nothing to do with hockey, but you go to the same rink. There's something that you have that's just the reality of no one else is going into an ice cold rink. No one else's parents are bringing you to that place. No one else has to travel with an ice skate and have to go through TSA and tell them, yeah, but I'm actually an ice skater. Like, I'm allowed to take my skates on the plane or whatever. No one else has to go through boots and break them in. Like, that whole concept that you share between the hockey player that you literally never even know. You don't know them. You just walk by them as you cross paths. They're on one rink, you're on another rink. Your lives really have nothing to do with each other. But the basics of figure skating and hockey join together that make it like a harmonious family that I feel responsible to align with you and to be able to take the responsibility of the figure skating side, because I don't know anyone else in figure skating doing this with ATG other than me and you. Like, even when I hear you're coming here, I'm like, yay, the hockey guy. Like, you know, it's like, it's exciting for me to know that it's you.
Well, you can align because it helps to have other examples. So for him, like, Alyssa's 36 and she's actually trying to get the best skating of her life by 40. Like, that would be very unusual for a figure skater to be like, this is the best I've ever been at figure skating.
Right.
At 40. So, like, even for you, it can be like, look, yes, I'm coaching a 14-year-old team, but here's Alyssa using it, and she's feeling better on the ice at 36. It still helped because people automatically are, you know, they're going to come with, you're going to get a lot of positivity. But there are people that their game is to tear you down. And they're going to come with every critical thing. And so you almost plan into your content to, you know, to also show the perspective that, like, no, the purpose is not for you to have a military style and mess kids up when they're 14. No, you're actually trying to help them have a better rest of their life.
Exactly.
You're actually trying to have them where the rest of their life, they'll be able to skate with their grandkids. You should teach your team so well that these 12-year-old little suckers, you know, picking their boogers out there, will actually learn how to take care of their bodies and skate with their own grandkids one day. And same for Alyssa when she's talking about skating things, and she can be shouting out, well, here's Mason coaching this team. So I think it'd be cool if you even find, if it's like a volunteer thing, and even if it's like your 2 workouts a week or whatever it is, like something that you can like maybe you have them like It doesn't matter what
It's
level the team
anything.
is.
It's even if
Just-
there's a kid that doesn't have a lot of money and you just want to start training that one kid. Like
But I think here's why you need a team. The problem is because their coaches are going to meaning he actually needs to be the hockey coach.
I understand that, but to get to that point,
Yeah.
sometimes you actually have to move like little mountains.
Sure.
So he could be like, look, I just trained little Lachlan or something like that, and be like, look, he's gotten better on the ice to
Yeah.
the main coach. And then Lachlan's little friends are going to be like, hey, I want to join Lachlan's little group. Now he's got 5 kids doing it. Then all of a sudden he's got his like little crew. And from now till 1 or 2 years from now, he could then be the assistant coach that could then be the actual coach of whichever one. I'm just saying,
However you get
Start
there.
your way.
start your way into it however you need to.
Yeah.
And it could be by volunteering, it could be whatever. You might have to drive an hour to the
Yeah,
team
yeah.
that's willing to accept you.
Yeah.
You know,
And it could be
Yeah.
worth your while. Like you do it as a volunteer, so it's a win
Yeah.
for them. But your
Right.
purpose is to very much expand your own career
right.
by helping them for free, but by showing the world exactly what you're doing with them.
Yeah.
Get measurable results. Show people how you got measurable results.
Yep.
Have that program available for people. Have them know where they can do your services.
Yep.
Then it's like, yes, it's a win-win. Like you have to survive. Because when I was doing it like just as a volunteer, but I then didn't have the program, like I made so many amazing results coaching kids and I wasn't even on social media.
Yeah. Just in
And so
person.
no one got to see what we were doing.
Yep. It's so true.
This is my first time since being knees over toes guy of actually going back to the trenches.
That's right.
Had I understood this balance concept, it's like, yes, you yourself actually have to, like I had to give that up because I had to make money to survive.
Yeah.
That's right.
I had to make money to support a family.
Yep.
Buy a wedding ring. I had to make money.
That's right. We joke because that's how the online business started. I wanted a wedding ring.
Yeah.
Ben didn't make enough money to be able to
I was
do that.
volunteering my ass off, helping kids, and so now, okay, it's like now, okay, I can have a balanced system because for those who want to do this, I'm going to show it on social media, so I'll get followers while helping the kids, and for those who want to do exactly what we're doing,
Yep.
and then they can do that service.
Yep. That's so cool. I mean, I got my axle back. Like I couldn't, I lost
And
it
splits.
somewhere, and splits
Yeah.
from just going, it was even Ben's idea. He's like, I think you should ice skate again. And I'm like, really? You want to? And he like actually did the whole thing. He found a rink, brought me and the baby, our first baby, back to going to the ice skating rink.
Wow.
And like made it happen, and then made it like a routine every week for a little bit. Then I was pregnant and had a second kid. So
Pregnant, back skating, pregnant, back.
yeah, exactly.
It's amazing that you're here.
Yeah.
You can do the splits.
Yeah.
You got your axle now after 2 kids.
After 2 kids, I got my axle
Like
back.
this is the beginning. Like it's
Yep.
time to like lock in
Yeah.
Yeah.
and actually.
And I'm actually trying to finish. So there's something called moves in the field for ice skating, and it's edges and turns.
Yeah.
And there's the highest level. So it's called senior. And I now at 36 want to pass that test. And so there's senior for what's moves in the fields for the edges and turns, and then there's seniors for the jumps and the spins. Once you complete both of those, then you can go to the Olympics, nationals, whatever, as the highest. So I don't know if I'm going to get full triples and be able to pass the one for the jumps and spins, but I want to be able to do it for the edges and turns. So I've actually started working on that fully.
Wow.
And the last time I was working on that, I was 16 years old. So 20 years ago.
Wow.
Incredible. All right. We got 1 minute left.
Oh, wow. That went probably pretty fast.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't that fly by?
Fly. Yep.
That was
Mason, do you want to say anything else?
well. This ATG system, the community that's here, it's amazing. It's definitely the best one I've been a part of. I think kind of going outside of like hockey and figure skating and basketball for a second. And I know we talked a lot about the sports in here, but one of the things that was really special was understanding the scalability of every exercise. That's what makes this whole system work. And like I was finally able to basically give back to my like dad, for instance.
Wow.
Like they're not really into fitness. Like I'm pretty much one of the only, I'm the fittest one in my little clan of like 5 or so, but which I don't say like lightly. It's a little sad, but I'm helping my dad finally after like many knee replacements.
Wow.
That he's going through. Yeah, and he's in San Jose, so
Wow.
you know,
where I was
still
born.
helping him from afar. Yeah, but he's at least like doing some of the stuff. But that's where the bow was tied. That this system really should. This is special. Where
Wow.
when I can, when you're able to scale to someone like that, or to any of like the 7-year-olds that I trained, like starting out with Calamity first before she moved on to Riley.
Right.
And you know, I think the just going through that personal training thing with, you know, my clients who are not into hockey, like that was special for me because and I still work on my communication to this day and relating with other people, but I was so one-dimensional for like such a long time, like because I thought hockey,
Yeah.
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I got hurt, I got to fix my hips, I got to go into that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I care about, that's the only thing I know how to talk about.
Yeah.
It was very hard for me to talk with like other people and relate to them. But, you know, I think it's special as well that I can talk to someone who's a basketball coach and get better at hockey that way, for instance. And same thing with a figure skater, anyone else who's here. Like, I never thought at like age 20 or 21, when I was basically just on my own, that, you know, I would have that. And it's all because of scalability and like relating to everyone else, having the exercises or anything else that you do in business or in life, you make it on a scale, like that makes everything so much easier. So that has really, like I said, again, tied the bow to everything together. And I think that's the most special thing about ATG. So you guys
Perfect
have
finish.
given me a life outside of hockey finally, that, you know, which is really important. Like, you know,
A life of helping people first and
Yeah.
foremost.
yeah, exactly.
That's the primary.
That's
no
why I
matter
love
what else.
being a trainer. It's something that I can do for the rest of my life.
yeah.
Like training. Average pro career is only 5 years.
Yep.
Like what happens to the other 85, 90, like until you're 100?
Even if you are a pro,
Yeah.
learn this and help people the rest
Yeah,
of your life.
exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
It's like,
no
I
matter-
wanted to start it now because, you know, the problems that we talked about earlier too. And like, this is, you guys have filled the gap for me. And I really want to thank you.
Dude, we thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking to myself, like, thank you for being in there in the
Yeah.
trenches helping people.
Yeah.
People come at me with all kinds of social media attacks.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy for anyone in ATG to get swayed by those attacks and be like, screw Ben, whatever. You know, people come after me. So everyone like who remains and like is trying to help people and has a mission, like that's what makes ATG. That's what's driving us forward. So we thank you.
Yeah, we thank you so much.
You're going to make absolutely
appreciate
epic
that.
stuff. I
Yeah.
think with you in hockey, Leonard, 8-year NFL player,
Yeah.
coaching ATG training high school football players. He's volunteering.
You going
I'm
for
volunteering in basketball.
Yeah.
Like this is where it's at to see, okay, here's something we can do to help people and devote ourselves to it.
It's really just a whole new athletic movement completely. Like we're just going back to the basics of sports and the body
yeah.
and
Moving bodies,
everything.
yeah.
And then just, catapulting it forward. So like you're in like the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning. This is like history.
Yeah.
We are changing history.
We are,
We're not
yeah.
it's not repeating himself with our generation of ATG trainers. We are out there like actively everywhere around the world that
Yeah.
ATG is pushing forward to getting new success stories. We are changing the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're going to take things even further, and I don't know what you guys think about being multiplanetary, but if that, like, but it's going to stay
That was
around
excellent.
for like ever. That's going to make us literally last longer as a species, I think. Like, we have a huge responsibility here. So
Elon Muscle.
I,
All right. You got
I love it.
to, if like after the hockey thing, then you rebrand as Elon Muscle.
yeah.
And, all right.
Elon Quadsel.
Thank you. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me.